Welcome back to my channel. I am back with another Love and Hip Hop Miami review, so let's just get right into what happened in this episode. So Zoe is back in Miami after deciding to leave there for a little while because she said that she was not happy in Miami anymore and her music wasn't really performing the way that she wanted it to, and so she decided to leave. But now she's back and she's doing a video shoot with Trina. And honestly, I feel like the little break from Miami did well for her because she looked really refreshed. She seemed really happy, high energy, and she looks great. I mean, she did say that during her little break from Miami, she did end up getting weight loss surgery, and she said that she didn't do it because she didn't love herself. She said that she did it because she does love herself and she wanted to be healthy. And look, I'm happy for her. I think it's great that she decided to make that decision for herself, and she looks good and she seems happy with the results. And Trina and Joy did say that they've seen her posting on social media, going to the gym, working out early every morning. So I feel like she's really doing what's right for herself. She's really trying to get her health together, and she's not doing it the way that some people do it, where they just go get the weight loss surgery and then they don't work out and change their diet around. It seems like she's fully embracing the process and a new lifestyle. But during this conversation between Zoe, Joy, and Trina and Joy end up updating her on what happened when Chyng ended up showing up to Joy's event in last week's episode. They told her that things kind of got ugly when Chyng showed up to the event and tried to shake Joy's hand, and Joy refused to do it on behalf of Zoe, and so they started arguing with each other. I will say Chyng did eat up, Hot Topic a little bit in that back and forth, but I will say that when it comes to the drama between Chyng and Zoe, I feel like Chyng was the one that was in the wrong because she could have communicated better when it came to Zoe. Zoe did seem to be happy that now she's fitting in with all these ladies and they're now embracing her and defending her. She seemed to be really happy about that. Trina did tell her that if she does have a conversation with Chyng, handle the situation and then get back to focusing on yourself and your music and your new lifestyle, and I completely agree. I don't think Zoe should get lost in this mess with Chyng. Now, in this episode, Claudia actually ends up going to visit Rada because Michael is out of town in New York doing some press interviews, and Claudia ends up bringing up Michael's, Breakfast Club interview where they asked him if he was going to get married to Rada because they are engaged, and he said that he didn't want to get married because there's too many people getting divorces. And Rada obviously felt some type of way about that because she claims that behind closed doors, he's telling her that he wants to get married, but then when he's in front of these cameras, he's saying something different. So I can understand her frustration. I definitely do feel like Michael should be honest with Rada. If marriage is not something that he wants, that's something that he should have communicated to Rada and not got on the Breakfast Club interview and said something completely different than what he's been telling her behind closed doors. But I also feel like marriage is not for everybody. Like, everybody doesn't want to be married, and the way that he's running around getting other women pregnant and cheating on her so much, I really don't feel like marriage is right for him. And other than financial reasons, I don't understand why Rada would even want to marry Michael. I mean, look how he treats her now. He's having outside babies, he's cheating on her, he's moving his side chick to Miami. Like, I don't understand why she would want to get into a marriage with him. During this conversation, Rada ends up telling Claudia that she gave him an ultimatum. She told him that if he moves his side chick Nadia and their baby to Miami, she's leaving him. And Claudia ended up telling Rada that the reason why Michael doesn't take her seriously is because she tells him she's gonna leave him and she never actually does. So she's making a lot of empty threats, and at this point he's heard this 1,000 times from Rada and she never actually left him. And I completely agree with Claudia. Empty threats lead to them continuously doing the same thing they always did to you because you're allowing the disrespect. He knows that Rada's not going to actually leave him for real. That's the reason why he keeps doing what he's doing. I just love how honest Claudia was in this conversation because a lot of women are afraid to tell their friends this stuff because they feel like their friend's going to get mad at them. And a lot of the times they do. They get mad at you when you're really honest with them. They want a lot of yes people around them that are going to tell them exactly what they want to hear. No, you need to be open and honest with your friends. So Amara and Eliza end up meeting up in this episode, and while they're waiting for Shay to show up, they're having a conversation about what happened at Eliza's birthday party because we know that she tried to play the peacemaker and invite both Joy and Shay to the party, and they ended up completely ruining her birthday. I mean, Shay literally took Eliza's birthday cake and threw it and it fell on the floor, which I definitely think that was wrong. I think there's a time and a place, and I think you should know how to handle yourself, and throwing somebody's birthday cake to me is out of line. But I'm not surprised this happened because Eliza shouldn't have tried to play the peacemaker in the first place, especially because it was way too soon for Joy and Shay to be in the same place, especially after the things that Joy was saying. Like, she showed up to Shay's event and she told Shay's mother that she raised the serpent, which really hurt Shay's mom. So obviously Shay seeing Joy at Eliza's birthday party for the first time since Joy crashed her event definitely was gonna get ugly. And Shay seems to stand by the way that she handled things at Eliza's birthday party. She basically told Eliza that it wasn't the right time for her to try to be peacemaker between her and Joy, and although I do agree it wasn't the right time for her to try to play the peacemaker, picking up somebody's birthday cake and throwing it across the room was crazy. Amara was trying to be the peacemaker a little bit, and she was trying to tell tell, Shay that this is out of character for Joy and maybe something happened as to why Joy is acting this way towards her. But Shay said that she didn't care. And something that kind of made me feel a little weird in this back and forth between Amara and Shay was that Shay said that she didn't want Amara to get involved and didn't want her to play the peacemaker, but yet you had a problem with her when she wasn't defending you. So what do you want? Do you want her to defend you, or do you want her to stay out of it? And when Amara ends up asking Shay how she's going to handle the situation with Joy, she said that she was going to handle it the same way Amara is handling things with Tip, and that she feels like Amara should meet up with Tip. And I don't agree with Shay when she's trying to say that Amara should sit down and have a peaceful conversation with Tip, because Tip was trying to make it seem like Amara got her baby daddy arrested. Like, that's a serious thing to accuse somebody of doing. And then she met up with this man's wife and did a whole interview with her trying to get dirt on Amara. So to me, I don't feel like it's right for Shay to tell Amara that she needs to sit down and have a conversation with Tip after what Tip did to her, but she won't sit down with Joy and have a conversation to figure out what happened between the two of them. Eliza was definitely being messy though, because even though Shay was trying to get Amara to agree to go on Miami Tip's, podcast, Amara said no, she wasn't going to do it. And Eliza suggested that Amara sit down and meet with, Tip's ex-boyfriend Chuck, who cheated on her, and now they're broken up. And Amara seemed to be interested in doing that, which I think is crazy. I don't really think that she should have done it, but I understand why she decided that she was going to do it, because Tip basically did the same thing to her. But Eliza's reasoning for, suggesting that Amara do that was for her own selfish reasons, because she has issues with Miami Tip. Now, despite the fact that Rada gave Michael an ultimatum, she told him that if he brought Nadia and their baby to Miami to live, she would leave him. He still ended up doing it anyway, because in this episode, he ends up bringing Nadia and their baby boy to an apartment so that they can view it, so that her and the baby can move in. And obviously, she did not like this apartment. Not only did she not like that there was gravel outside, she didn't like that there was a lot of stairs, and she didn't like how small it was, and she did not like the location. She basically told him that she wanted to live the same way that Rada was living, because Rada is living lavishly and she wants the same thing. So basically, she wants to be Rada. That's what it seems like to me. She wants to be the next Rada. I don't understand why, because other than benefiting from Michael's money, what exactly is Rada getting from Michael that she wants? I don't know. I'm not feeling Nadia. It seems like she wants Rada's life, and it seems like she's in this one-sided competition with her, and it's weird. And in this episode, Michael actually ends up meeting up with Rada, and she ends up asking him straight up if he moved Nadia and the baby to Miami, because Nadia posted a picture of her on a plane going to Miami, and it looks like she did that on purpose because she wanted, Rada to find out that she was moving there. It seems like everything she does is to come at Rada. And Michael admits that he did end up, bringing Nadia and the baby to Miami because he wants to be closer to the baby and spend time with the baby. And look, if that's the reasoning for why he did it, I completely understand, because I don't agree with somebody being a deadbeat dad. So if he did it to be closer to his baby, then I completely understand that. But I can also understand why Rada has an issue with it. Rada ended up reminding Michael that she told him that if he moved Nadia to Miami, she was going to leave him. And he got really frustrated with Rada. He said that both Rada and Nadia are annoying him and that it's taking a toll on him. And look, who cares if it's taking a toll on him, because he did this to himself. Nobody told him to want to be dealing with multiple different women at the same time, and nobody told him to get multiple women pregnant, so he did this to himself. And that's basically what Rada told him too, which she was right about. So Chyng ends up asking Zoe to meet up in this episode, so they sit down and have a conversation. And at first the conversation seemed to be going well because they were communicating pretty effectively. Chyng ends up telling Zoe that the reason why she got triggered in their conversation is because Zoe called Marquez a jailbird, and she was also in jail, so she felt some type of way. And also she has family members that are in jail. So basically Chyng took it personally. And Zoe did apologize in this conversation. She told Chyng that she was sorry that she offended her by using the word jailbird, and that had Chyng would have told her during that conversation that she didn't like that word being used because it triggered her, she would have apologized right then and there. And I agree, and that's why I feel like Chyng is the one in the wrong in this situation, because if she was offended by something that her so-called friend said to her, she could have told her friend right then and there that she was offended by it and told her why, and maybe her friend would have understood. And if her friend didn't understood, then maybe that's not your friend. But I definitely think that Zoe would have understood. But Zoe is also right again, because in this conversation with Chyng, she was saying that the only reason why she didn't like Marquez is because of the things that Chyng was telling her about him. Who's gonna like a guy that their friend tells them is cheating on them, lying to them, being lazy and using them for money. Like, who's gonna like a guy that their friend tells them is treating them that way? It's like Chyng shouldn't have been oversharing this information if she didn't want Zoe to tell her honest opinion about it. That's one of the things I hate the most, is when somebody comes to you with a problem and then you tell them what you think about it and then they're mad at you. It's like, what did you want me to do? Just sit there and shut up? Because if you don't want me to say anything about it and you just want me to sit here and nod my head, let me know that and I'll sit and nod my head and listen to you. But if every time I talk to you, you're complaining about the guy you're in a relationship with, at some point I'm gonna tell you, look, just leave him. Chyng kind of got a little bit annoyed at Zoe saying this and said that Zoe overstepped the boundaries, but Zoe said that, you know, Chyng never set any boundaries, and that is the truth. She never told Zoe that she was getting triggered by the things that she was saying. Zoe basically said that Chyng was giving insecure because she was getting mad at Zoe for pointing out that Marquez was not a good guy, and she knew he wasn't a good guy because she was the one telling Zoe all the bad information that she knew about Marquez. But that word insecure ended up really triggering Chyng, and then she said that Zoe was insecure because she went and got weight loss surgery, which I think is a crazy comeback to say to somebody, because that doesn't mean she's insecure. It means that she wants her health to be better. It means that in the long run she wants to have good health. And yes, getting weight loss surgery and losing weight is not necessarily going to make you healthy, but it's going to make you healthier than you were, as long as you live a healthier lifestyle, because you can't just lose the weight and then not eat healthy and not work out. But it seems like Zoe's doing that, so I thought it was weird for Chyng to come for her for that. But when Zoe clapped back at Chyng and said that she doesn't know who the father of her baby is, that's when Chyng got really upset and she hopped up out of her seat. She started yelling at Zoe. Zoe started yelling at her, and Chyng ended up taking a drink and flinging it at Zoe, and security ran over there to break it up because they didn't want them to end up getting into a physical fight. I thought this conversation was starting off good, but the two of them really can't communicate well, especially Chyng. She gets too triggered too easily, and so the conversation really didn't go anywhere. To me, it was completely miscommunication the entire time around, and it doesn't seem like Chyng wants to admit her part and where she was wrong. Now, as messy as this is, Amara did decide to take Eliza's suggestion and go meet with Miami Tip's ex-boyfriend Chuck, who Miami Tip just found out was cheating on her. And look, I think Amara's better than this, but at the same time, Tip was definitely playing with her this season by meeting up with Alan's ex-wife and trying to expose her, and then accusing her of being the reason why Alan ended up getting arrested. So I can understand why Amara wants to get her lick back. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't really believe a lot of the stuff that this guy Chuck was saying. He seemed like he just wanted camera time and he was just trying to be messy. I do believe him about the married man thing, because I do think that Miami Tip has been open about this before, that she has dealt with married men before while she was in the night lifestyle. But everything else that he was saying, I didn't really believe him, especially the part where he was saying that Miami Tip wanted to have a threesome with him and Amara. I didn't believe that part at all. I thought that was crazy, and the fact that Amara was feeding into him saying that kind of made me cringe a little bit, because I just felt like he was lying about that. So then Amara does decide to take Shay's advice by agreeing to go on Miami Tip's podcast, and Miami Tip seems to be excited to have Amara on there as her first guest. She's trying to be really friendly, but Amara is definitely being nice nasty to Miami Tip in this podcast interview, and I understood why. She has every reason to feel some type of way about Miami Tip. She was too far in her business and she was being messy. I mean, Tip didn't even start off apologizing to Amara. She was just saying that it wasn't her intentions for things to get as ugly between the two of them as it got. Tip was saying that she was just trying to be good to Amara and she was trying to protect her, and I do think that last season that was her intentions at first. When they were on that trip and Alan was treating Amara really badly and he was saying really nasty, disgusting things to her, and she was still running up behind him, I do think that when Miami Tip was checking Alan and she was telling Amara to wake up and leave this man alone, I do think that she had the right intentions. But once Amara told her that she didn't want her help and that she didn't want her getting involved in her situation with Alan, she should have taken a step back and just minded her business, and she would not do that. She was pressing and prying too much, and then she ended up getting in this situation where she met up with Alan's wife and then started accusing Amara of being the reason that Alan got arrested. So at first I do think that she had the right intentions, but after a while it started to get messy and vindictive, and so she is in the wrong, and I do think that she owes Amara an apology. But Amara was not trying to hear anything that Miami Tip had to say. She tells Miami Tip that she met up with, her ex Chuck, and Chuck said that, Miami Tip shouldn't be talking about Amara dealing with a married man because she's dealt with multiple married men, and that she's a nugget who opens her legs for a check. And that was crazy. Like, he definitely did basically say that about Miami Tip though. And I do feel like Amara was justified, but she kind of ruined it for me when she brought up the fact that she feels like Miami Tip did all this drama with her because she was jealous of Alan because she wants to sleep with her. I felt like that was the cringy part because I don't believe that that's true, and I think Amara knows deep down that wasn't true. So I thought that was kind of a weird part of the situation, but Miami Tip should have expected this to happen because of the way that she came at Amara. So they start arguing back and forth. Amara's throwing things, Miami Tip's yelling at Amara. Like, things got really messy between the two of them, although I don't feel like Miami Tip should be surprised because the way that she's been coming at Amara this season, I don't know why she thought Amara was going to sit down during this podcast and have a civil conversation. But at the very end of this episode, Rada ends up pulling up to meet with Nadia, you know, Michael's side chick, and then the episode cuts there, so we'll pick up on that in next week's episode. But these are my thoughts on this week's episode of Love and Hip Hop Miami. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video.